Right, ladies and gentlemen, a group of 7 charming 18th, possibly a 19th century hand-painted or hand-drawn items. I'm selling a group of sort of graphic arts items at the moment, prints and drawings and so on, and I'm putting them in little batches that match. And this is a sweet group. Here we have, they're the kind of things that people made into in albums in the 1830s, 40s, and a bit later. Here's a charming scene of 2 men sort of in pencil drawing. It looks to be about 1830, 1820s, 1830s, of a man in a chair, and this man seems to be putting sort of fleas or lice. He's got a little box called lice, and he's putting lice rather charmingly in another man's head, and it says putting odd things in a man's head, ho ho ho, signed by somebody, obviously for somebody's album. The detail is very sharp in reality. Pencil sketch of a man putting lice in another man's head. Here is around, I think, 1890, a handsome little sort of amateur but very, very charming watercolour of an imperturbable British officer on a rather naggy horse out in sort of Egypt or Afghanistan or India or somewhere. An original watercolour drawing, a little corner missing. These things are distressed, but that's part of their charm. Charming watercolour drawing about 1900. This is again from a little sort of Georgian album, a little sort of gouache or watercolour design. It says an Indian here, rather sort of fanciful, sort of turbaned, sort of part Chinese, part Indian looking gentleman, all done in watercolour by hand. There's a lovely sort of amateur pencil sketch from an album of the Menai Bridge, signed and dated 1839, only about sort of 10 or 12 years after it was built. There's the Menai Bridge. Again, the detail is much sharper in reality. There's a very sweet and actually rather more professional drawing on card, again a bit torn and battered, of a sort of 18th century dressed theatrical costumed lady. She's obviously around 1880s. It's a sort of theatre costume of some sort, French Revolution looking, with her monocle, sort of semi-male sort of travesty type costume, but that's actually rather skillfully done. This is, although these are 2 sepia photographs of the mid-Victorian period from an album page, they're surrounded by these beautifully hand-drawn sort of hawthorn berries, beautifully drawn trellis work and hawthorn berries done in watercolour. And the final item is this on very old paper with an almost 18th century looking watermark, if you hold it up to the light, which you can't see here. It's a drawing that looks as though it was made possibly for an engraving. It says Prudo Castle, Northumberland, done, you can see the paper mark just about there, done in copperplate writing, and there's one of those very standard sort of topographical views of Prudo Castle. It may have been copied from an engraving, but it may have been an original drawing made for an 18th century engraving, and it's rather battered because it was used in an engraver's workshop. Anyway, 7 charming items in various states of condition, but a lovely batch at a reasonable starting price. Thanks very much. Bye.